Hello guys, this is Ryan and today I'm here after a long time. It's like almost a month since we have been updating to you. But today's topic is more about France and its civil life and then the military life, okay? I will tell you from my personal experiences and the experience of many others what issues you face in France, and if you want to start a life in Europe, like if you're from another country and you want to start a life in Europe and you think France is the best option, so you must be aware of some basic things which is really helpful, and I'll tell you and explore more and more about these ideas. First of all, visa. In my case, I was having a child with a French woman. I was married to her and I had an international certificate. So it took me 2.5 to 3 years to get the papers, and we get is 10 years of residential permit. Okay, so in those 10 years you can stay in France if you are not divorced. If you somehow get divorced, though those 10 years of permit gets null. Okay, you cannot enter France anymore because the process of divorce starts. So there are many other ways to enter into France, like getting a visa, from getting a Schengen visa and entering to Spain, Italy or any European country, and then entering to France. Now life in France, I must tell you that it's definitely not easy. In start you will like everything. You will like the food, you will like the culture, you will like the church, you will love people and smile. But as days passed, things will become more and more clear, because getting a job in France is one of the most difficult thing. I wanted to find a job. I went to France with my family, and there's an agency called Pôle Emploi and there's an agency called Manpower. Pôle Emploi is a government agency, and it works in all France. It has the recruitment agencies everywhere to give you basic jobs. So yes, as this video is about the life in France, if you want to try being a civilian to get a rented house or rented apartment and then to get a job, and if you are English speaker and you do not know French, then definitely it's not easy to find any job in France. Probably there might be some online coaching which you can try, or there are some families which are searching for English speakers so that they can teach their children. You can teach English to all the French children in the families. So possibly there are some families which allow to give you food and shelter and some money. So this is one possibility, but definitely it's very rare. And regarding the agencies, the Pôle Emploi and all these agencies are only beneficial. They give benefits only to French citizens. In 2016 there was 60 million French people which were unemployed, which did not have any job. And this 60 million people did not have any job, and I was one of the stranger which was not the citoyen of France, that is citizen of France. And there are many strangers which struggle really bad. It's hard to get the driving license. I mean, it's not even hard, it's definitely near to impossible. You have to give 1 year of driving license test, and then you have to go to classes before, and then all the test is online, and it's like, and all this test is like you have to pass. If you fail anything, you have to repeat it next year. So definitely driving, to get the driving permission, it's not easy. Getting a job is not easy, and to get employed you have to learn French basics. There are many tuitions like Greta. These are institutions which provide free coaching. They give you education, and in Greta you can learn things. You can learn French. They can give you some sort of course, in some period of course, and then you can start speaking French, but definitely it's gonna take like 6 months to 7 months. Now during this time, the people who are unemployed in France, they get many benefits, many charitable benefits. The government give them free hospital, free mediclaim, free libraries. But if you are any non-European guy, from another country, and you are out of money and you are really struggling, because you are a stranger, you are not French government will not give you a single money. They won't give you any benefits. As an Indian staying in France for like 3 years, I did not get any money, I did not get any benefits, and it was so difficult to stay in there. You have to spend money on your eating, you have to spend money in supermarket, you have to spend money on your petrol, diesel, or if you're driving any kind of bike, you have to pay 15,000 or more than that for just a simple bike license, 15,000 INR, So things can be really dodgy, really difficult. And in France, they are all the time looking for professionals. They will not give chance to the youngsters. Okay, France is definitely known for its old values, historical ideas. They need professional in all the fields. Payments can be good, but then even if you earn 1,000 euro, it's gonna spend easily in just rent and eating. Last, you are not going to save any money being in strange country. I having a lot of benefits, I am having a family. After having a lot of support, still I couldn't survive in France. This is the reason I went to French Foreign Legion, to get the benefits and to provide benefits to my family, to my wife, to my child. But French people definitely not easy. If you are out of them, if you are out of relationship or trying military, possibly the divorce is possible, and this happened in my case. Things were not easy before, but then after going to the French Foreign Legion, definitely I got the news that I'm being divorced with my wife. Before, I had a life in Cambodia, near Bangkok, near Thailand, I mean. And the life in Cambodia was easy, but making money was definitely not easy. We had a little restaurant. I worked hard for 1 year. I used to play music in Veranda Resort, and a lot of things were fine. A lot of things were fine until we decided, me and my wife, to move to France for the better life. But later on, I understood that life in Asia was easy. Definitely not a lot of money, but at least we were a good couple. Things were fine. We were average to each others. We were loving. But after moving to France, just being sorted out, like blacklisted because I've been immigrant. No job for immigrant. They can give you hopes in a city like 28,000 inhabitants, a city like Aurillac, and a region like Auvergne, Clermont-Ferrand. Life can be really difficult. It can be peaceful. It can be really very rural. It can be It can be nice. A lot of oxygen. Free sort of feeling being in the forest. But it can, at some point, you will find a lot of loneliness in the outskirts of France. In French Foreign Legion, give you training in a very out area where civilians are not visible easily. Okay, if you want to start a life in France, definitely you have to stay in Paris or any big city, Lyon. Okay, only big city can give chances to the foreigners. Okay, only big cities. But if you're planning, if you are out of budget, you do not have money to stay in the city, then life can be really difficult, guys. So I must say, for the people who are stranger in France, who are not having job and they are just studying and trying to find a job, don't just depend on Pôle emploi, don't just depend on manpower. Okay, these agencies will never give you job because you are a stranger. There's a lot of discrimination, a lot of racism, and I have witnessed all this. I have been facing a lot of psychological issues because of the pressure which France gives you. Okay, this doesn't happen in England or British. This doesn't happen in English countries. But if you are foreigner and you are going to France, not being a French, if you do not speak French, and you are trying life in France, you want NRI permit, you want the green card, France demands a lot. about if you are really educated, matricule or MBA, then France says you that your MBA count is not legal in France. Your educational certificate is not counted in France. To be educated, you have to learn in France. You know, you have to get an education in France. So this is one another sort of thing which gives you a really racism and discriminative feeling, and you feel like really out of it. You know, I did my course from Avalon Aviation Academy, and after going to France, I tried to find a job in airports or any other hotel industry, and I had some minimum qualification, you know, but they will not give you any chance. For them, manpower is nothing. They have a lot of French people whom they prefer first to give chances, and even the government official in France, they say that only 15 to 16 percentage of job is available for étrangers, for the people who are non-French. So understand, guys, if you really think that you did the engineering, you did the infrastructure studies, and you go to France and then you will find the job easily, it's definitely not easy. I have been meeting a lot of people who were really damn lucky to find a job, you know. So considering my life in France, after having the 10 years of visa, after having a family, wife, I was forced to join French Foreign Legion. I gave an interview. People go to French Foreign Legion to get the French citizenship, to get the French visa for 10 years of permit, to get a life in France. But I, being a family guy, I being a civilian, I forced myself to somehow join French Foreign Legion because there was no jobs available, and there was like 6 months of waiting period for joining any job or any kind of organization. No, for any NGO organization there was no recruitment. So the most important thing I must say to you is, please be in one of the biggest city in France, that is Paris. I won't recommend you any other country, but cities only can give you better chances. Now, if now there are many people who are stuck up in France, who are unable to find a job in France, and somehow you came to know about the French Foreign Legion, then I must say that it's a big option, it's a good option. But French Foreign Legion will give you a feeling that you are not in France anymore. It's a very strange army. It is not only working for France, it works for the whole international peace and mission, you know. And if you think that you are joining a French army, then don't think so. It's that like it's a part of French army, but it's not a French army, you know. It's French Foreign Legion. They recruit international guys and they give you mission of all sorts of things. Even if some there's an avalanche issue in the mountain, and the rescuers will be French Foreign Legion guys. So if you guys are dead, then for them it's like strangers are dead. So if you complete 5 years in French Foreign Legion, you are definitely lucky, you know. There are major chances that you can get a citizenship, and then you can get a proper life in France. You can try another job as well with the French Foreign Legion certificate. I want to tell you, right now there's a lot of crisis, energy crisis, traffic crisis, lot of problems are going in France. There's a lot of racism, there's a lot of fights inside. You just open the French news, you know, you can see problems all the time. Emmanuel Macron, the president, he's been criticized for his worst performance, and people are really angry on him. A lot of guys are unemployed. There's a lot of fights between the police, gendarmerie and the locals. Now because of the fuel price rise, there's again a big issue inside the big demonstration, trafficking, and there's a big demonstration inside France. You can see the problems on the Facebook, you can see the videos, on YouTube you can see the videos. I want to tell you a story of a guy who was really unhappy with the civil life in France, and somehow he spent some time in France and he was trying to find a job. His mission was to stay in France, you know. His mission was to stay here because he loved here. But finally, he was forced inside to go to French Foreign Legion. I mean, he had only one option to join French Foreign Legion because he wanted a life in Europe. So he joined, and he was in contact with me. I gave him a lot of inside information, and finally he was selected, and now he is working in Third Reich. Many failure stories, like a guy who went to study and then he completed studies. He tried to find a job, but for 2 years he couldn't find a job. He tried to suicide, he tried to kill himself. But then he learned about French Foreign Legion. He went to French Foreign Legion, but he was rejected because of his low performance or low intelligence or whatever. There were some guys who were searching for a job, but then they joined French Foreign Legion. They were selected, but even after selection, they couldn't love it. They couldn't love it the way candidates should love French Foreign Legion. So, thinking that you have a problem and you can just sort out your problem by joining French Foreign Legion. So don't think so. French Foreign Legion is not so easy to fulfill your demand. It takes you 5 years and a lot of missions, a lot of studies, a lot of exercises. They make you something else. So for 5 years you have to sacrifice your 5 years to get a proper civil life. But the best part is for the guys who come from outside, who come from non-European countries, and they only want to join French Foreign Legion. They are not looking for a proper life in France, but they are army crazy guys. They are really alpha and they want to join army. So for these guys, definitely French Foreign Legion is one of the best option. And if you're selected, you are really lucky and good. And even after completing your 5 years, you will get a lot of bonuses, a lot of chances to get on. Get on to complete your French citizenship, and even if they will give you a chance to continue for 3 years or 2 years, the way you wish. A lot of benefits, free transportation. So this kind of jobs, like being into the military, it gives you a lot of bonuses, which a normal civilian will never get. The normal civil French guy will never get those benefits which a stranger can get from French Foreign Legion. So understand my point, okay? So this is the problem. I have given you all the ideas of Polumpo agency, one of the worst agencies I have ever known. You can just expect that they give you a job, but then there's a lot of racism and discrimination. Even normal life in France, if you're black, you will definitely feel there are differences. People make differences. People make you feel. I'm not talking about majority, but there are major chances, major cases. But there are some cases, which really distinguishes you. French people are really known for the bad attitude. They are all the time irritated with outsiders. Even inside there's a lot of divorce. There's a lot of relationship issues all the time. So finding a true love, it's definitely not easy. It's like finding a good job, relationship, it dies within few months, and then especially the French one, French gender, they try to find a new partner. So it's all about culture. There are cases of many legionnaires who in 5 years never got any partner in France. They were completely alone. But there are many cases like white guys, they easily find partners in France, and it's definitely not easy. They change all the time. They're like saints in that, they can find it very easy. Finding your love in France, it's definitely not easy. Alright guys, do subscribe this channel. I'll be giving you a lot of updates in future, and as I get the updates, I'll let you know. This video was about the life in France and the civil life, and the people who are living in France and they expect to have work and relationship. So this was the video. So this video was about that. Also, I have given you ideas about being a civilian and joining the French Foreign Legion, and being outsider and joining French Foreign Legion. Alright guys, if you need any inside information, psychometric test, data, gestapo, or any sort of knowledge, please contact on my email ID below. Thank you. Bye bye.